John, I have to tell you about something that happened last year. My flight for a holiday was canceled at the very last minute.
Oh no, Emma. That sounds really frustrating.
It was. I was so disappointed. But because of the cancellation, I ended up visiting a small town nearby instead. It was beautiful, peaceful, and I discovered the best little coffee shop ever. It turned out to be one of my favorite trips.
Wow, so it seemed like a terrible situation actually led to something wonderful. That's a great story, Emma.
It really was. And it brings us perfectly to our topic today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the English Speaking School podcast.
Yes, welcome back. Today we are explaining a very common and useful English idiom, a blessing in disguise.
It's a fantastic phrase for when something bad happens, but it actually leads to something good later on.
That's right. When you say something is a blessing in disguise, you mean that at first it seems like a problem or bad luck. But after some time, you understand that it actually brought a positive result or benefit.
Exactly. My canceled flight felt like a disaster then, but looking back, it was truly a blessing in disguise. It led to a fantastic, unexpected trip.
That's it. And let's break down that word disguise for a moment. To disguise something means to hide its true appearance or nature. So a blessing in disguise means the positive part, the blessing, is hidden at first by something that looks negative or bad.
You don't see the good side immediately. It often takes time or reflection to realize the positive outcome. It's a great idiom to describe situations where initial disappointment turns into unexpected good fortune.
Right. It's used when we understand after the fact that a bad event actually helped us or brought a good result. So, a challenge or a problem can secretly be a positive thing.
So, understanding a blessing in disguise is really important for English learners because it lets you describe common real-life situations, like my canceled flight, in a very natural and effective way. It's how native speakers often talk about unexpected positive outcomes.
Absolutely. Knowing this idiom helps you sound more fluent, and you'll hear it often in movies, books, and daily conversations. For instance, if you get sick and miss an important but dangerous meeting, you might say, "That illness was a blessing in disguise."
Yes, it goes beyond just saying good luck from bad luck. It adds a deeper layer of meaning and makes your English sound much more sophisticated. It helps you express how your perspective on an event can change over time.
So, before we dive deeper into more examples, we just want to take a quick moment for some housekeeping.
Yes, if you're enjoying the podcast, please don't forget to subscribe, like this episode, and share it with your friends. Your support is a huge blessing to us.
And remember, even a small action like sharing can be a blessing in disguise for someone else's English journey. They might be looking for a new way to learn, and your share could introduce them to something truly beneficial.
Exactly. Plus, subscribing ensures you don't miss out on future episodes, so you keep getting those little blessings of new knowledge regularly. It's a great way to turn potential missed learning into a steady gain.
Now, for a practical tip on how to use a blessing in disguise effectively. Our listeners can try this right away.
Yes, we encourage you to actively look for situations in your own life, or even in stories you read or hear, where something negative turns into something positive later.
When you find one, try to form a sentence using the idiom. For example, losing my old job felt bad at the time, but it was a blessing in disguise because I found a much better one.
Practicing this will help you internalize the meaning and make it feel more natural to you. Think of past disappointments that eventually led to a good outcome and label them a blessing in disguise. John, remember when my old car broke down completely last year? I was so upset.
Oh, yes, I do. You had to take the bus for weeks. That sounded awful.
It did then, but getting a new car meant I chose a more fuel-efficient model. So in the end, that broken car was a blessing in disguise.
I see. Like my canceled flight to that conference. I missed it, but then I spent the day with my family. it was a blessing in disguise for me.
Exactly. Or when my local gym closed, I found a great new one with better classes. That was a blessing in disguise, too.
So many situations where a bad start becomes a good ending. A blessing in disguise indeed.
See how we used a blessing in disguise to talk about those unexpected good results?
Yes, each time something negative happened first, but it led to something much better later on.
John, remember when my big work project was suddenly canceled last month? I was so upset.
Yes, I do. You had put so much effort into it, and that must have felt like a disaster.
It did. But because of the cancellation, I had free time to learn a new computer skill. That skill actually helped me get a new, much better project. So that canceled project was a blessing in disguise.
That's fantastic. It reminds me of when my holiday was postponed last year. I was sad, but then I used that time to visit my family, who I hadn't seen in ages. That postponement was definitely a blessing in disguise.
Amazing. And what about when my coffee machine broke? I thought it was terrible, but it made me discover that wonderful little cafe down the street. That broken machine was a blessing in disguise, too.
Exactly. It's all about finding the good in a seemingly bad situation. Even a broken coffee machine can be a blessing in disguise, leading to new discoveries.
So you can hear how we used a blessing in disguise to talk about how bad things can lead to good outcomes.
Yes, from canceled projects to postponed holidays and even a broken coffee machine, it's a great way to describe a positive surprise hidden in a negative event.
So, we've talked a lot about what a blessing in disguise means and how to use it with examples.
But, John, I can imagine some listeners might be wondering about the timing of this idiom. When exactly should they use it?
That's a great point, Emma. A common question is, do I say it while something bad is happening or only later?
Good question. It's important to remember that you almost always use this idiom after the positive outcome has happened or become clear. You need to see the good result first.
Exactly. It's about reflection. You look back at a past negative event and realize, that was actually good because it led to this. So you wouldn't typically say, this canceled flight is a blessing in disguise right after you hear the news.
You'd say, the canceled flight was a blessing in disguise once you've enjoyed your unexpected trip. It's a phrase for hindsight, for understanding how past events played out positively.
Think of it as a realization. The moment you understand the blessing part, that's when you use the idiom. It connects a past negative event with a current or realized positive one.
Speaking of past events, John, I have another story where I really felt a blessing in disguise played out.
Oh, interesting. Tell us. Our listeners love hearing real-life examples of idioms in action.
Well, a few years ago, I really wanted a specific job. I prepared a lot, went to interviews, but I didn't get it. I was heartbroken.
That's tough. Rejection is never easy.
It really wasn't. But because I didn't get that job, I kept looking, and a month later, I found an even better opportunity. It was a completely different field, but it was perfect for me. Better pay, better team, more interesting work.
So not getting that first job, which felt so bad at the time, was actually a blessing in disguise because it led you to a superior position. That's a classic example.
Exactly. When you're using this idiom, remember you often combine it with because to explain why it was a blessing. Like, not getting that job was a blessing in disguise because I found a better one.
That's a very useful tip, Emma. The because clearly shows the positive outcome that changed your perspective. It connects the bad thing to the good thing. My initial car trouble was a blessing in disguise because it made me buy a more economical model.
And that brings us to the end of another valuable episode. We've covered a lot today about a blessing in disguise.
Indeed. So let's quickly recap our top 3 takeaways for our listeners.
First, A blessing in disguise describes a situation where something initially seems bad or negative, but later turns out to have a positive or beneficial result. It's about finding the hidden good.
Second, remember it's primarily used with hindsight. You use it after the positive outcome is clear, not usually when the negative event is happening. It's a reflection on how things played out.
And third, you often explain why something was a blessing in disguise by adding because. For example, the flight cancellation was a blessing in disguise because it led me to discover a wonderful new town.
Excellent summary, Emma. Now, for your quick challenge today, listeners, think of one negative situation from your past that ultimately led to something good. Try to share the story with a friend, or even just write it down, using the idiom, a blessing in disguise, and explaining why.
That's a fantastic challenge. It will help you see the positive side of past events and internalize this idiom perfectly. Keep practicing, and you'll soon be using it naturally.
Thank you for joining us today on the English Speaking School podcast. We hope this episode has been a blessing to your English learning journey.
We certainly do. Don't forget to subscribe and share if you found this helpful. We look forward to having you back for our next episode. Until then, keep learning and keep discovering those blessings in disguise.